We're back, people. Today is the day that the Dolphins have officially, they get that initial 53-man roster. They're not quite there yet, but they've almost made all of the tough cuts that they had to, and we can pretty much dwindle it down. Also, even the ones that haven't been made official yet, is the reporters were saying like who was and wasn't at practice, so you could make that assumption. And it's almost in 45 minutes is when it becomes all official anyway, so we can pretty much start discussing it. Lots happened today. Lots of some things surprising. Nothing like, I would say there was only like one player making it that was like genuinely surprising. The other ones I think at least thought had a chance and were like, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see why they did that. And there's some moves that like, hopefully you can get them back on the practice squad. That's sort of where I'm at with that. Practice squad will be tomorrow, so we can figure out all of those things then. But yeah, let's definitely get into this, have some fun. I mean, today's a tough day for a lot of players, but yeah. Let's go Butler over Murphy. Well, they don't play the same position, and yeah. Yeah, we also signed Rasul Douglas today. If you guys didn't watch my film breakdown on him, check that out at some point. Rasul Douglas came in, and it seemed like, we'll talk about the corner room later, but, he's going to come in and probably be one of your starters pretty quickly. I'm not a huge fan of the move, but it is what it is. McClendon, yeah, I expected McClendon to get released. I think, no offense to Derek McClendon, he had a very productive preseason. I thought a lot of his production was a little bit, I don't think the process and the way he got his production was something that was very impressive to me. I wouldn't mind bringing him back to the practice squad, but McClendon was someone for me that shouldn't have made the team. I think I'm more so disappointed Grayson Murphy didn't make it. But at the end of the day, I also kind of was not surprised by that because Grayson Murphy is kind of a one-trick pony. And just knowing how teams operate, they're probably going to go for a guy that's a little more well-rounded and can bring special teams value. I know they've tried Grayson Murphy as special teams a lot. He put a lot of snaps there. He's just not going to be a good special teams player, and that's the reason I don't think he makes the team. I hope you can keep him around because I love his pass rush skill set. So he's one, obviously, would like to see. But, yeah. I mean, I don't know if anyone's going to lose their job because of Rasul Douglas. I think it will be from all the other things. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Rasul either. But yeah, so we start out the day. Let's see. I can bring up this list, actually. Let's shout out, gotta refresh this. Let me just make sure. This is everything. All the official cuts. I believe it is. Okay, yeah. Shout out A to Z Sports. This is Kyle Krabs got it all updated and stuff. So take a look at this. This was all, the first ones up here. This is all from yesterday. So after Farrell Brown is where we're caught up. So today, start out with Quentin Bell. That's one of the ones that definitely had a shot. I actually thought he was the most likely edge to make it because of the special team stuff. But it seems like they're going in a different direction with Cameron Good. Also want to make it clear, this is just the initial 53. A lot of things can change. Because with all the injury stuff, they can eventually move people up back onto the roster. If they put people on IR after the initial 53, wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised if they claimed people and some people come off the team at certain spots. I think with an extra safety, an extra D tackle, one of those guys comes off. So that, I think that depends on what happens tomorrow. But yeah, so Quentin Bell, Matt Dickerson, another one that I thought he was going to be a guy that would make it early on. But after the first preseason game, just the way they played him, it felt like they weren't going to bring him on. But yeah, practice squad guys, same thing with Derek McClendon. Talked about him, practice squad, potential practice squad. Obviously not all these people will make practice squad, but I think he should be a practice squad target. Theo Weiss Jr., Patrick Morris, unfortunate that he had to get cut. Didn't have the strongest offseason. I think after impressing last offseason in that preseason game, and then didn't get to play all year because of the injury. It just didn't seem like he caught on. That one's unfortunate. I would like to keep him around though, because I still think there's something potentially there. Eric Azukanma cut, Andrew Armstrong cut, John Saunders Jr., that's one I think people thought had a chance. And honestly, the fact that Jordan Colbert, the second year UDFA, did make the initial 53 over John Saunders Jr. and Patrick McMorris, which was a little surprise. That was the most surprising one to me. I didn't expect that, but I think it comes down to special teams there. If you're keeping that extra body at safety, they got to be able to play special teams, and I think Colbert's the best of them at special teams. But I hope you can keep him on the practice squad. Grayson Murphy, obviously one of my top practice squad targets. Eugene Asante got injury waived. BJ Adams gone. Ryan Hayes gone. Josh Preby, Alex Huntley, Cornell Armstrong, Mohamed Kamara. And then I think Preby and Kamara could be potential practice squad guys as well. At least ones that I would be interested in. And I think when it comes to, honestly, we kind of skimmed over the O-line there. The O-line, they only have kept 8 as it seems right now. Andrew Meyer got put on IR, so he's designated to return. Liam is still on PUP, so they're going to miss the first 4 weeks of the season. So those will be the guys who come back O-line depth-wise. They did waive, or it seems like they've waived Braden Daniels. I don't think it's been 100% confirmed, but he wasn't at practice. He was the other name that I don't think was mentioned yet, which is unfortunate. I would like to bring him back on the practice squad because I thought he had a really strong preseason. But so just Keon Smith, Daniel Brunskill, and Larry Borum as the depth O-line, which is interesting to say the least. I wouldn't be surprised if they add one. That's a position I think is decent chance of getting added. We don't have the full cuts, right? No, not completely. It just depends because the reporters were at practice and there's players that they were able to say that weren't there and that were there. And the players that weren't there, you can pretty much confirm that they were cut, but then there's some that have an injury thing going on, so we can't say for sure if they are cut or not. Like Cam Smith and Channing Tindall were not spotted at practice, but they have not been confirmed, so it could be an injury thing with them. Murphy ain't getting claimed. I don't think Murphy's getting claimed. And I don't think it has anything to do with his arm length, to be honest. I think it has to do with many other things. Chop's got small arms. Yeah, Damian Martinez, I would be very interested. That would be one of the claims I would make out of what I've seen so far. Tyndall, yeah, I mean, I personally am a no on Tyndall. Like, I think it's just time to move on. I do think he had some moments in preseason. Like, I'm not trying to disregard that, but I just don't think they can afford to keep an extra linebacker there. Yeah, Cameron Good made it. Special teams value. He can do some things versus the run. Waller didn't practice, but we don't know anything. My point is Murphy doesn't have the athleticism that will tie it. Well, then you should say that, W. You only said arm length. Yeah, not interested in CJ Henderson. But yeah, there's a lot of people that were released. So yeah, there's some other ones that are interesting, like Jelani Woods and Greg Dulcich at tight end were released. Those are kind of interesting to me, just based on the Dolphins tight end room. I think they should be desperate at tight end. Looks like they've ended up keeping Waller, who didn't practice today, and then Julian Hill and Tanner Connor. Wouldn't be surprised to see, like, Ross Dwelly come in or something like that either. Pharaoh Brown in the practice squad getting elevated or something like that. That wouldn't be surprising. But Tanner Connor made it, and that was not surprising to me. I know some people had some questions, but yeah, he's probably been your best tight end this offseason, which is kind of sad. But yeah, he ends up sticking around. But there's some interesting things. I know there were some tackles out there that people like. There's a Chiefs tackle that people have been talking up. I haven't had a chance to check him out, so I'm not sure what my thoughts would be. That will probably come if they end up claiming a guy like that. But I do think O-line and tight end very high on potential. Same with the running back, and then corner should always be something they're looking for. But yeah, they waived there. Seems like Isaiah Johnson was spotted at practice, so it seems like Isaiah Johnson has made the initial 53. I'm happy about that. I prefer Isaiah Johnson on the roster over Cam Smith. I've been kind of pushing that all offseason. I just didn't think the Dolphins would actually do it. Kendall Sheffield and Ethan Bonner were also not spotted at practice, but those two are question marks because we don't know what they've had injuries, so they might not have just been spotted at practice because of an injury thing. Austin Davis was spotted there, and so was Dante Trader. So Trader and Davis seem to have made the initial 53, and it doesn't look like they're getting put on IR. So far, I think Andrew Meyer has been the only one reported to be on IR. Wouldn't be surprised if the other ones like Jason Sanders either, like the kicker. Because apparently they might be bringing in Riley Patterson. That's the rumor right now, depending on how waiver claims go. But yeah, I like keeping Trader. I think letting go of Trader would have been a mistake that I wouldn't want to have risked. But I do like keeping Isaiah Johnson. I think there's special teams value there. I really like his length and athleticism combo and that physicality. I think the fit. I think he's proven it. I'm glad that he made it. And then Jordan Colbert, did not expect. Jordan Colbert and Matthew Butler, I think, are the two most surprising ones. But Butler, I thought, had a chance. Jordan Colbert, I wasn't even really considering. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to watch all the film on these guys. Like the ones that were like the rosterable guys I'm going to watch on film and then maybe get a film breakdown on these guys before the season, like Colbert, Butler, Cameron Good, see how they performed in the preseason. Yeah, those were a little bit surprising, at least. I would say they were the ones that were like the most on the roster. Well, at least seems like they're good as of now. Oh yeah, we still don't know exactly what's going on in the corner group because Cam Smith wasn't spotted at practice, Kendall Sheffield wasn't spotted at practice, Ethan Bonner wasn't spotted, and then like Isaiah Johnson was spotted there, but we haven't got anything confirmation wise. So that's like the only thing with that room as of now. They were never going to cut Trader. Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised how many people thought they were. I did not think they would. Hayden Rucci was not spotted at practice, but so he hasn't been confirmed cut, but I'm imagining he's probably not on the team because he has not been. Johnson, do you think he gets claimed? I doubt it. I don't know if any of these players will get claimed, to be honest. Receiver, all 6 made it. The 6 that I wanted to make it made it at receiver, so shout out to those guys. I'm very glad Taj made it. Same with Eskridge. That's the group that I wanted. Everything else was pretty close to what I imagined, except for the Colbert at safety. And it seems like they're keeping 60 tackles so far. Only 8. I feel like, yeah, we'll see. We'll see the official. But yeah, definitely some interesting things. How about stealing from the Bills to put on the practice squad? I mean, I don't really have any thoughts on it. Yeah, Dolphins keeping all the draft picks, which is huge. We got 0 wide receiver 059. That's not true. I'm not keeping a worse receiver just because he's taller. Plus, you can just keep those guys on the practice squad. Like, to me, there's a lot of guys that I know people wanted to keep, but I'm like, they're going to get to the practice squad if you really want them to, you know? But yeah. But I think Damian Martinez is super intriguing for the Dolphins. I liked him and Ollie Gordon both a lot in the draft, and they both went around the same area. And I think Martinez would be... I don't know how he performed in the preseason. I haven't watched his film in preseason, but I liked his college film. Would be very interesting to me to bring him in, especially with some of the running back injuries. That would mean you would probably have to cut someone somewhere, but that means like you probably would cut like a Butler or a Colbert because that's extra bodies in that room, and I would be okay with that. What is the official 53-man roster? It's official by 4 p.m. Eastern. It has to be official. Now, does that mean it will be exactly out at 4 p.m. Eastern? I don't know. Yeah. NWI. Yeah. NWI is the big receiver. And then if Darren Waller plays, I also consider him a big receiver because he's pretty much just a big receiver. Same with Tanner Connor. He's basically just a big receiver. He at least does more tight end type stuff. He honestly plays some fullback. But like if Darren Waller plays, him and NWI would be your big body receivers. But who knows if he ends up playing at this point, you know? What has Colbert done for real? I think with the Colbert thing, I think it's just it's a special teams thing. I think, you know, when you're like the last DB to make the roster, you got to stand out on special teams, and I think they prefer him on special teams. And he has played hard in the preseason. Like, he hasn't been bad. So yeah, definitely honestly, they don't need more production in terms of like numbers, but they need better play from the tight ends in terms of blocking. That's really where they need better play from tight ends. They signed Rasul. Thoughts? I mean, I've given a lot of my thoughts on Rasul a lot. The signing itself, it's a 1-year, $3 million thing. So it's not that big of a deal in terms of like, you know, it's not that expensive. My only concern is that they're bringing him in. if he is here to replace like Kendall Sheffield on the roster, I'm totally fine with that because to me, Sheffield was a veteran that was probably going to see playing time. I think Razul is better than him, and he would also see playing time. My only concern is if Douglas does fall off and not play as well, I think I've seen the Dolphins too many times in the past not willing to move on from the person or not giving the younger guys a chance that are behind them, you know? I want to see those young guys play. So if Douglas is struggling and not playing that well, be willing to bench him. That's my only concern is like they might not be willing to bench him and he might stunt development and it won't be worth it if he's not playing good enough, in my opinion. There says Meyer. Yeah, Andrew Myers IR designated return. Liam Eichenberg still in PUP. So we still have one more IR spot. That could be any of the guys that missed practice today. It could also be used for Jason Sanders because Jason Sanders is expected to miss 4 to 5 weeks, so that could work for it. But I also think one of the things they could do at kicker, because they could have an extra roster spot. So this is one of my thought processes, guys. So say you use the IR spot on Jason Sanders. You don't sign a kicker. You just bring a kicker on the practice squad, and then you can elevate the kicker 3 times. So then you have an extra roster spot at another position. I think that's what they might be doing. I don't know. It remains to be seen. But I would just elevate kickers. It can be different kickers. And if the first kicker that you bring on, you elevate him 3 times, you can then bring him up to the roster if needed, if he's like doing really well. If he's not, bring another kicker to the practice squad, elevate that guy until Jason Sanders comes back, and then you can use that roster spot for an actual kicker. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, oh, you can create an extra roster spot with the kicker situation going on. I think that would be something the Dolphins consider. I hope they let Marshall have first crack. See, that's the thing is like, I mean, I don't know who it will be, but like who else can play nickel, you know? I really feel like he's probably going to be a day 1 starter. That's just my guess, but who knows? It's just who else would start in slot though, you know? Like who on the team could even start in slot? I think, you know what I think they will do though? They are going to get 3 safety looks. So I wouldn't be surprised if like Melifonwu or Minka are playing slot on a lot of reps too. But who's going to be like your actual nickel corner? I feel like it's got to be Marshall. Like I don't even know how else it could be. Let's see if anything else has happened while I've been live. No, doesn't look like it. Yeah. But yeah, they brought in a bunch of kickers for some workouts. There's some interesting guys available that I've seen. I don't know 100% how all of them perform, but if the Dolphins obviously add anyone, I will be doing a deep dive on them. But these were the players not spotted. Tyreek, Achane, Jalen Wright, Liam Eichenberg, Austin Jackson, Darren Waller. But those guys are all making it. They just have injuries. Then you have names like Hayden Rucci, Mo Kamara, Ethan Bonner, Kendall Sheffield, Cam Smith. Out of those names, only Kamara has been confirmed to be waived. So I'm guessing Rucci's also waived, but I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks around again. Bonner and Sheffield, who knows, because they've both been on injuries. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they used like, I don't know. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe they get waived, injured, someone gets on IR. That'll be interesting to see what they do there. And then Cam Smith probably waived. Same, I think Tyndall wasn't there. Players that were spotted at Dolphins practice, according to Joe Shad, were Daniel Brunskill, Larry Borum, Keon Smith, Taj Washington, D. Eskridge, Tanner Connor, Cam Good, Matthew Butler, Isaiah Johnson, Jordan Colbert, Ashton Davis, Dante Trader. And those are guys who were at least somewhat on the bubble, some of them more than others. Interesting. Yeah, so they kept 6 D tackles. Gonna have to go check Butler and how he performed. Based on what I've seen in preseason, we're gonna do a lot of 3 safety. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, especially because they kept Isaiah Johnson. He was spotted at practice, so it looks like Isaiah Johnson's in a good spot. Nothing confirmed yet, but and also with him doing some safety reps in that second game, could give him a thing. But the fact that they kept 6 safeties, usually teams keep 4. I feel like that's the average. 5, some teams keep 5. keeping 6, that's a lot. That means you're probably thinking about running some 3 safety sets more so. Who's your candidate for practice squad player to have the biggest impact in season? I'll answer that tomorrow. I just have to. I'll have the practice squad like confirmed. You know. I don't know what the actual practice squad is yet. Damn. Yeah, don't see any other new cuts at the moment, but that looks like what it's gonna end up looking like. I wonder if we'll actually get it confirmed by 4 o'clock. Obviously, you're gonna stay alive until then. Yeah, still the same. Doesn't look like. I believe, right? No UDFAs made it this year. Like no rookie UDFAs made it. That's like the first time in like 4 years that's happened. Wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of them stick around. But some second year UDFAs who didn't make it last year made it because Isaiah Johnson and Jordan Colbert looks like they made it, and they didn't initially make the team last year. They were practice squad guys. So that's pretty interesting. That's actually pretty rare. Usually second year UDFAs that were practice squad guys year 1, that's a very low percentage of making a team. So shout out to them. Probably will see special team impacts. It's 4 p.m. Eastern, so 23 minutes. But yeah, that's where we're at. Waiting to see. I don't think anything else has popped up. Yeah, but is there any players you've seen get really, or like, what's your most disappointed release so far? And then have you seen any other release from other teams that you guys are interested in? Maybe other than the ones we've talked about, other than like the obvious, like, you know, Damian Martinez. Where the Gunners on special teams? Well, I think Elijah Campbell will for sure be one. Last year was Saran Neal and Elijah Campbell. I'm guessing Elijah Campbell. And then let me look at the team. I guess it just depends who's healthy. Trying to think. Let me look. It could be Colbert. I think it could be Ethan Bonner if he's healthy. No. Isaiah Johnson would be in the mix. Yeah, I'm watching more, after the stream, I'm gonna watch film on guys like Colbert, because I didn't watch much of Colbert this offseason. So I'm gonna be watching film on those guys, definitely get some videos up on people that made the team. I already have a Keon Smith video recorded, thank God. I recorded that one before it looked like he made the team, so thank God he made it, because then I would have made it for no reason. Because Keon Smith had his best performance in week 3. Still definitely concerned about O-line depth. Wouldn't be surprised to see the O-line room change as early as tomorrow because of people being claimed. You're talking about Eugene Asante. Yeah, he got waived today. Wouldn't be surprised to see him back on the practice squad. Mello Dotson. Hasn't he been on a couple teams? I know Kobe Bryant also got waived. But he's probably out. Yeah, I would not put Cam Smith as the gunner. Cam Smith actually had good film at, he wasn't the gunner in preseason, but he was blocking the gunners and actually did a decent job blocking the gunners. But I think as the gunner, no, if he was there, no. Oh yeah, Cam Robinson's available for trade. I guess that just depends on what the price would be. Okay. Alvin Thorkman. Yeah, there's some interesting things out there. I've seen people out there talk about certain people that I'm just not like super aware of that have been mentioned on like Twitter and stuff. But If like the Dolphins end up picking that up, then those guys are for sure. Yeah, it seems like you're gonna have Borum will be your backup right tackle, Keon Smith backup left tackle. They both have played the other spot, so I'm sure there could be, some wiggle room there. And then I think Brunskill will be your backup interior guy. And then I'm sure some guys on the practice squad could be elevated if needed. And then when Andrew Meyer and Liam come back, that will be big. Miami should have brought in Amari Cooper. I don't really see the point, to be honest. Dolchich, yeah. I haven't watched Dolchich since his UCLA film, so I'm not sure what he looks like. But I'm pretty sure I saw a stat that he had like apparently the most preseason touchdowns. And I know he's had some injuries. I think that's another reason he's kind of been moved around. Luke Condra, the Cincinnati guy. Yeah, he was just never I don't think a scheme fit for Miami. What about Army from Jacksonville? Oh, like the Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby stuff. I've seen a lot of people interested in that. Personally, I honestly just think it's kind of a waste of a pick. I mean, I don't think Travis Etienne is very good, to be honest. I really don't. And I don't think he's a good scheme fit either. I actually think he's a really bad scheme fit in terms of what the Dolphins like to do. Tank Bigsby probably makes more sense, but I also don't really see much of a point. I'd rather just try to claim somebody because there's a lot of running backs out there. Yeah, Martinez. My back? Okay. My back? Okay. Sorry, disconnected there for a second. You guys might have to refresh the stream. That was weird. Okay. But yeah, we're back. Okay, cool. You guys might have to hit a refresh. They need Camp at DB for his length. He is not getting cut. Who, Cam Smith? I mean, he wasn't spotted at practice, so it ain't looking super good. It's not confirmed, so he could still make it. But yeah, I'm not. Audric Estime, I was never a big Audric Estime fan coming out, to be honest. I'm not a Canes fan. Hard pass on Martinez and Restrepo. I would also pass on Restrepo. I don't really see the point for the Dolphins. Lamb, I'm a no on Kendall Lamb, no on Nick Needham. Dane Jackson. Thing is, we have no idea how bad the Achane injury is. I mean, he's expected back by week 1. Jeff Wilson, Carson Steele. Practice squad at best, to be honest. Like, for the most part, I think the Dolphins can just get by with Achane and Ollie Gordon until Jalen Wright returns, and then just using a running back on the practice squad. And you can just elevate the guy running back on the practice squad to fill as a body. Because there's so many running backs out there. Now, if they want to use a roster spot on someone like Damian Martinez, I would be okay with that. But there's only a couple, he's one of the only players I think I'd be cool with taking that chance on. Most of the other ones, I'm just practice squad and elevate. We were also told Sanders was expected back week 1 and Madison was doing well. Yeah, but all those things were refuted literally the next day. Achane, they've been saying that for weeks now, and nothing's changed. So that's why I'm more sure about the Achane thing, because the whole Sanders thing, literally the next day, all of that, it changed. They've been saying that about Achane for weeks. And it was reported by other people outside of the Dolphins organization that he's expected back by week 1 and he's ahead of schedule. You know how bad release Zach Wilson? They can't. They're keeping 3 QBs this year for sure. Your opinion on the weakest tight end? Tight end might be weaker than corner. It's a possibility. I mean, I personally don't think I would go in the Jeff Wilson direction, but it does make sense from like just a familiarity standpoint. I'm just wondering who's stuck at wide receiver and tight end. I mean, it seems like it's Julian Hill, Tanner Connor, and then Waller's still around, and then receiver they kept the 6 that we've been saying. Waddle, Reek, Washington, Nick Westbrook, Akine, Diaz, Gridge, Taj. Yeah, apparently Asante Samuel's not ready until like October or something. Greg Dulcich is a potential interesting option. I'm definitely open to tight end on the waiver wire. I don't know how Greg Dulcich would fit. I would need to watch him and see how he's been playing recently to justify his fit. It has been a very long time since I've watched Greg Dulcich. Yeah, Ross Dwelly is a very real possibility. Honestly, Farrell Brown, just on the practice squad, getting elevated is also a possibility. Do you think Razul will be day 1 starter? My guess is if he's ready to go, he will start week 1. Even though that's not real. I would rather have that not be the case, but that would be my guess. Prediction on win total? Honestly, I don't really have one. It's like there's so much variance with the Dolphins. Like for me, like if I'm trying to predict the Dolphins win total, that means I'm trying to predict who gets injured because that's what it kind of comes down to. And that's kind of hard to predict. And I don't want to predict that. Heard anything about Dan Skipper? Yeah, he's another one that would be. I just don't know if he's really a scheme fit for Miami. At least from what I've seen from Skipper. But there's some interesting tackle names out there. Other tight end cuts, Jelani Woods, yep, CJ Dippre, Jaheim Bell. You know, I think Dippre and Bell could be potential. If you want to, maybe if they want to sign on the practice squad, that's would be interesting. Jelani Woods might be someone that could get claimed. I don't even know if he might even just be available. I don't know if he's on the waiver or not. But he also has an injury history, so that's just another. But like tight ends, one of those. There's certain positions I'm like I don't want to deal with injuries. But then there's certain positions like you got to take as many opportunities as you have because that room sucks. I don't care if they're injury prone or not because it doesn't really matter. But yeah. The Dolphins sign OT, they have to be able to contribute to the run game. Yeah, that's why I'm not that's why I'm not interested in a Kendall Lamb reunion because even though Kendall Lamb's a good pass protector, there's just like he just doesn't really offer much in the run game, and I think that's more important to what the Dolphins are trying to accomplish. That's why I think they brought Larry Borom in, even though you know there's definitely problems with Larry Borom's game. He just makes more sense from a schematic standpoint in what they're trying to accomplish. CJ Henderson, I don't really see the point. Eli Ricks, I was never a fan of Eli Ricks coming out, and I don't think he's been necessarily very good for them. Oh yeah, Malachi Corley got cut. That was one because they drafted him in the 3rd round last year. I would not claim him, but if he was smart, if he didn't get claimed, and if he was smart, he would sign to the practice squad of a team like the Dolphins or like the Niners or maybe like Washington, because I think that's the best chance for his career to succeed because he is basically a running back playing receiver and he needs to be in a team like a system like Shanahan's, the Shanahan system team or Kingsbury, because I actually think they would have the best chance of making him work. And I tweeted it out. I would convert him to running back. I think that's the best chance he has for his career if wherever he ends up going to. I thought Brandon Daniels should have made roster. Do you think they'll be able to bring him back? I think I don't think he'll get claimed. So I think if they want to add him to the practice squad and he is willing to join, then I think they should be able to get that done. My guess for corner, because you said you think it'll be Jack Jones and Razul on the outside. My guess is it will be Duck and Razul. And then it'll be Marshall in the nickel. Slash, if they go 3 safety, it'll be a 3rd safety in the nickel. But I think Duck feels the most likely to start to me. They love Duck. They absolutely love him. Need a tackle? Yeah, I agree. Any surprise you that Izukama was released? No. I expect that was like a guaranteed in my eyes. I know some people had Izukama making it, but that was like a guaranteed release because he got released last year, had a similar camp this year, similar preseason, and then, but the players around him were better, so I was like, oh, he's guaranteed to be released. They already did it last year. Yeah, I've seen people talk about Jalen Armour Davis. I haven't really watched how he's played since he's been in Baltimore, but I do remember that game against the Dolphins where he definitely struggled. I guess as a potential scheme fit goes, because he has familiarity with the scheme, that's interesting, but I don't think he would really play. He'd probably be more of someone I practice squad. Yeah. Essa Pohl and Brant Banks are 2 names I have seen mentioned like a decent amount on Twitter. I don't have that much familiarity with those 2 guys. So if they're good, if they were scheme fits, I'd be all over it. Younger, because I think they're both younger guys. Yeah, I would be interested, but I don't know how they actually are as players, so I would have to check them out. But I'm only would check them out if, like, the Dolphins sent them. Dan Skipper? No, I've been talking about him a little bit. I just don't think he's a scheme fit. And the thing with Dan Skipper is the reason Lions fans love him so much is because he was their 6-0 line, and they would bring 6-0 linemen on the field, and like he's caught touchdown passes and stuff. So he's like one of those players they like cheer for and root for. But he's like 30 years old, and he's only really played like 700 to 900 snaps. Xavier Howard starting. Yeah, he might be starting week 1. He's listed as a starter, at least. But they just traded for Mekhi Blackman, who also could end up seeing playing time. I don't know. I feel like if Howard starts, he's going to end up just getting a pick. But just because the universe is cruel. But I think he will get cooked for most of that game. Yeah. Dude, watching Rasul Douglas film, and Rasul Douglas did have good reps against Tyreek, but Waddle was absolutely cooking Rasul Douglas. And it seems like from, I think, multiple reports, it seems like Riley Patterson has been told like he will probably be the one they sign, but they're waiting to see how like the waiver wire plays out before they like officially sign him. So it seems like, because I think they worked out a few different kickers today, but like I have no thoughts on the kickers. Like I don't have high kicker knowledge other than, you know, looking at a stat and seeing what their field goal percentage is. But also that is not even a good predictor sometimes, because sometimes you bring in a guy that has super high field goal percentage and then he just starts sucking. And then you bring in someone on your new team and they have a lower field and they're somehow good. Predicting kickers makes no sense to me. They still got cuts to make, right? Yeah, they still have like, there's still cuts that have not been made official that we don't know like 100% like the final roster. Because some of the people that were reported not at practice might have been an injury thing. So we'll wait and see what's ends up being official. Personally, I don't really think the 3 safety set thing has really changed from Ashton Davis' injury. Plus, he's already out of the boot, and I know he's already doing stuff. So it seems like he'll be back quicker than expected. And the Dolphins kept 6 safeties at least initially, like based on who was practicing. They kept 6 safeties, so it still seems like they're going to go pretty safety heavy. But yeah, because I don't think the Rasul Douglas signing had anything to do with their 3 safety sets. They've had that offer out to Rasul Douglas for like months now. He just finally accepted it. Yeah, I talked about that earlier, Eddie. I think that would be a good move to have an extra roster spot. That's why like I'm not trying to confirm anything yet, because they could put Jason Sanders on IR with the second IR spot. and then just sign Riley Patterson to the practice squad, and then just elevate him for 3 games, and then use that extra roster spot on someone at a different position. Tony Jefferson. I mean, I like to stick with the youth movement personally. Like overall, they're going for the. No, John Saunders Jr. got cut. Wouldn't be surprised if Colbert makes it. You surprised he made it over McMorris or Saunders? I mean, he was at practice, and McMorris and Saunders Jr. got cut. That's the most surprising one to me. But I think it just comes down to special teams. I feel like sometimes we overlook special teams a bit. I do it, where I'm not always considering it because it's not what I'm always watching on film. And I think it, and sometimes, and also we're just not in the room when sometimes it's like close like that with the younger guys. It could just be the coach likes him more and special teams and work ethic. But Colbert is definitely the surprising one to me. Because even Butler, who's like, I know surprising to some, wasn't super surprised. I think based on film, Butler making the team, like based on his regular season film, doesn't surprise me. I don't think his preseason film was necessarily very good, but he was one of the first D tackles to rotate in each time. So clearly he was at least higher in the rotation. But Butler, I think Butler and Colbert are like, if the Dolphins claim people, it wouldn't surprise me if they're the two that end up kind of not making it after that. Because this initial 53 will probably be different when the regular season rolls around. It might even be different tomorrow after the claims. There's an athletic freak, maybe there's something there. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just special teams. Sometimes guys make a career just being off a great special teams player. Elijah Campbell, who's on the team, pretty much that's what he's done throughout his career. I don't know if he'll ever make a defensive impact. I'll say this about Colbert. During his defensive snaps, from what I remember, he was definitely out there to hit people. He's out there to make tackles. I don't remember how he was in coverage. I need to watch that. But yeah. Elijah Campbell? Nah. Because Elijah might play. Your thoughts about Eli Ricks? Haven't watched him play in a couple years, but I was not a fan of him when coming out of college. And from what I've seen with him with Philly. When Jay Wright gets healthy, do you like Ollie Gordon better? For me, the running back 2 spot, when Wright comes back, just kind of comes down to how well Ollie was playing. Because I'm imagining Ollie's going to get like week 1 and week 2 to really prove himself. And if Ollie continues that success during the regular season, he's going to hold on to that RB2 job. And then the only way Wright takes it back is with opportunities. And the only way he gets like real opportunities is if like there's another injury or like on his couple carries in a game, he makes the most of them and he starts to get those carries back. But like if Ollie's playing like all right, he's not doing bad, maybe not doing good, then I think they might start splitting snaps when Jalen Wright returns fully healthy and like see who can like really take that job. John Saunders Jr. or Braden Daniels thought they would be on 53. I did not think John Saunders Jr. was. I know some people expected to, but I think outside of that interception, he played decent in preseason. And I think for UDFAs to make it, because I think that one thing we're not talking about is like draft, like the reason like you keep Dante Trader is because Trader is fresh in evaluators' mind because they just watched film on Trader a few months ago. So like they already have evaluations on Trader. So you don't cut a guy like Trader because like he is more likely to be claimed. And then UDFAs usually can get them back on the practice squad and keep them around unless they had like amazing preseasons, which I wouldn't say he had an amazing preseason. He had like a pretty good one, a decent one. And then Braden Daniels, I thought he was going to make it because I think he was the 9th lineman. I thought they were going to keep 9, but they only ended up keeping 8. So Daniels was one I kind of wanted because I thought he played pretty well. I'm not shocked Sanders Jr. was cut, but I was shocked McMorris was. Yeah, I had a couple of people tell me like they're like, there's no way Cam Smith or Patrick McMorris get cut, but like I was like, I mean, I think it's a real possibility, even though I like McMorris a lot. It's just how those offseason's gone, and he didn't make it. Sucks, but he could still stick around. Because the reason I'm like, do they think this player will get claimed? They probably think Patrick McMorris won't get claimed. So I was like, he's on the table. Right? His Ryder's boy, it's going to take a lot more to get Ryder to give up on Jalen, right? No, I'm just not overreactionary like every fan in the existence of the universe. Because, dude, it could be one play. Jalen Wright could go out there and have one, like, if his first play is a 20-yard run, guess what? Jalen Wright is back in the eyes of all the fans. He might be the number one running back if his first run's out there for 20 yards. Like, I'm seeing people put Ollie above Achane. Like, it's a very recency biased league, and I'm like, hey, we just need to relax a little bit. It's just preseason. Yes, it's fun. It's nice to see these players in action. You get excited, but damn, did Taj make the 53? It has not. I mean, he was out there at practice, so it seems like he's making the 53. It's 4:00, but I haven't seen anyone update anything yet. It should be like official, but we don't have the exact official list. But yeah, Taj has not been cut, and he was seen at practice. So pretty sure Taj is on the team. He should be at least. Let's see if. Let's see there. Nope, Dolphins didn't tweet anything out. The Rams tweeted out all their cuts. Why can't we do this? 4 p.m. Eastern? Make it all official of what your roster is. Because I'm trying to find something here. Nope. Yep, nothing posted as of yet. Nothing from Barry Jackson. Yeah, nothing new. Is Riley Patterson any good? Your guess is as good as mine. Are they going to get snaps for all the edge guys? I mean, it's just going to be a 4-man rotation. Once they place an O-line on IR, you think Braden Daniels returns? But I think because Liam and Meyer are already like on IR and PUP, so they're designated. They're not on the 53. So I don't know. I don't think there's any O-lineman to put on IR to bring him back. He's one that could return if, like, say they put like Ethan Bonner is one that made the initial team, and they put Ethan Bonner at IR. He could be one of the guys I see returning just to the team because they want an extra. Because O-line's one of the positions they're light at. Yeah, I'm sure. Like, if they want Brandon Daniels back, I'm sure they can get him. What does the 53 look like? Well, we don't have the official list, but I can just tell you what it basically is, or like I can tell you all the guys that are on the bubble that were not spotted at practice and who was spotted at practice. Did Theo Weiss get cut? Yes. Here, I'll show you the list of all the official stuff, all the official people cut. Here it is on A to Z Sports. This was from yesterday. You guys probably all saw that. Quentin Bell, gone. Dickerson, Derek McClendon, Theo Weiss, Patrick McMorris, Eric Ezukanma, Andrew Armstrong, John Sanchez Jr., Grayson Murphy, BJ Adams, Eugene Asante, Ryan Hayes, Josh Preby, Alex Huntley, Cornell Armstrong, Mohamed Kamara. Those are all the official. There's some others that I haven't mentioned. And then these were players that were on like the edge that were spotted. So Brunskill, Borum, Keon Smith, Taj Washington, D. Eskridge, Tanner Connor, Cam Good was spotted at practice, Matthew Butler spotted at practice, Isaiah Johnson, Jordan Colbert, Ashton Davis, Dante Trader. And then other players that weren't seen. Yeah, so Cam Smith wasn't spotted. Sheffield wasn't spotted, but that could be an injury thing, so who knows. Ethan Bonner, same thing. Kamara's waived. Rucci wasn't spotted at practice, so Rucci probably gone, even though that hasn't been confirmed yet. Tony Jefferson would be better than Douglas. They don't play the same position. Yeah, the initial 53, there's a lot of strategy involved and like moving parts, and it's very rarely the actual final 53 going into the season. Practice squad, they can start adding tomorrow. I think it's like 12 Eastern is when practice squad can start being official. Need a Trojan on the roster? We got one. Gonna be, yeah, I imagine Taj will be the one that's not activated, but I mean, he'll get time at some point, you know? Because they'll leave Eskridge activated because of special teams, and then Taj will get playing, like, I mean, it's not gonna stay 100% healthy at receiver. Ollie is a bell cow back. Achan is more of a gimmick back, do it all with speed. That is so disrespectful to Devon Achan. And, you know, as much as I like Ollie Gordon, he has not played a single NFL snap. So Achan is still very much RB1. Would you like his primary returner? I would say you would have him. I think you're going to have Malik as your primary returner, and then I think Eskridge and Malik will be both back there for kickoff return. Has anyone seen Daniels being cut? Are you talking about Braden? Because he wasn't at practice, so it seems like he's cut. Apparently, you guys know Chris Paul Jr., Pooh Paul, the rookie from Ole Miss. Apparently, the Rams waived him. He'd be another player I'd be interested. I mean, I know linebacker's not a big need, but I'm a big fan of him, and apparently he had a strong preseason, but the Rams did cut him. I never mind going after a good player, especially because I feel like there's players I'd be willing to waive at other positions to get him on. Yeah, I'm seeing other people confirm their 53, but I have not seen it for Miami yet. How does this always happen? Like, I just saw official 53 for the Cowboys, but not for... Come on, Dolphins, get on it. Or beat reporters. Someone get some info. Do we really sign running back Martinez? No. He got waived. So tomorrow you'll find out if the Dolphins claimed him or not. My guess is the Dolphins, I think, are like 12th or 13th in the waiving priority list. So I think Martinez is one of the players that's out there that's pretty likely to be claimed. And you got to hope no team in front of you would claim him if you actually want him. I don't even know if the Dolphins will actually claim him. They might not feel the need. No, you can't pick up anyone that's been cut as of yet. Yeah, Lampkin got waived injured like a little while ago. Does it do? But yeah, not seeing anything. Of course, classic. I'm seeing a lot of Dolphins fans wanting Jalen Armour Davis, and all I know is all the people saying this. 99.9% of them don't even know who that is. They're just following along. And I'm like, obviously I know who it is, but like, I don't know if I would actually pick him up because I haven't watched his film in a couple of years. But he is an interesting name to keep an eye on. There's some interesting names out there. I think, who else did I see? Yeah, Martinez, Dolchich, Jelani Woods. I don't know who that is. He was a receiver, or he was a corner at Alabama. Drafted in like, I forget where he was drafted. I know he got drafted to the Ravens in like the 5th or something. That's just me guessing. I don't remember. It was something like that. And then he's been there for a while and he just got waived. But he was not... I remember he had like some potential coming out. And then I think it's because he's from Baltimore. So... Or he was a 4th round pick in 2022. 4th round pick in 2022. He's still 25. And he played with Weaver. So I think that's like the thought process there. But I really don't know how he's played in recent years. So I don't have an opinion on it. Dylan Sampson. He's probably going to start for the Browns. Achan isn't a 3-down back. He's too small. I mean, I don't mind limited. I don't like personally the whole like most running backs in the league are not workhorse backs anymore. There's only like 3 or 4 running backs that get like all of the touches on their team. So there's pretty much no running backs like that. Anyways, so like yeah, you need to have a committee, but Achan is your best back. So I mean, yeah, you need to probably get some snaps to other people, and Ollie Gordon will get some grinded out yards, get some short yardage. But Achan has proven that if he needs to, he can be the full-time back, a 3-down back. He's had games where he's gotten every touch. Don't be a cynic. You don't need to have a YouTube channel to know players like Armour Davis. Some fans are informed. Oh no, don't get me. I think a lot of them know the name. I'm saying 99.9% don't like know if he's actually good or not, and a lot of them don't know his name. And I'm not saying having a YouTube channel makes you smart. There's people who put in the work. Like I knew all that stuff before, but like I'm guessing, like myself, don't know if Jalen Armour Davis is actually worth a pickup, because I'm guessing 99.9% have no idea how Jalen Armour Davis has actually played. It might be close. It might be 100%, unless they're Ravens fans, because I have no idea how Jalen Armour Davis has played. And that's coming from me, a YouTuber. So I think a lot of people out there that are pretending. It ain't gonna be me. I think to answer your thing, Tanya, I think Taj could get snaps. I just think based on roster construction, and he'll be like the 6th guy, and like Eskridge's special teams. If everyone's healthy, he'll probably be the receiver that's inactive. But I do think if like a guy went down and got hurt, like he will go out there and get some playing time. It's just he's going to be behind like obviously your top 2. Malik and Nick Westbrook-Akine are going to play a role every week. And then they're going to have like as your 5th guy will be Eskridge, because he at least has the returner value, I think, over Taj as of right now. Did anyone pick up Cam Akers? I don't think so. Three-down back is a stupid term because technically 3rd is for receiving back and Achan is number receiving back. Yeah, I think a lot of the terms have gotten. I think like a lot of terms like that have kind of lost a little bit of meaning nowadays, and just have become like buzzwords at times. Like they can still be used, but it gets like overplayed. Which players do you think are going on IR? Well, they're going to put Andrew Meyer on IR, so he's going to be one of the 2 designated. Wouldn't be surprised to see like Jason Sanders get put on IR. And then I think like it seems like Ashton Davis and Dante Trader were out there today, so I don't think they'll get put on IR. And I think and then Eichenberg's on player unavailable, unable to perform list. And I think like a player like Bonner could get put on IR, but we don't know officially if he's even on the team yet. Don't see any official from the Dolphins. Classic. I'm not owed. Devon bulked up this offseason, yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, Achan's a good player. And yeah, they should have a compliment with him, but people are acting like he's not the best back on the team. Hey, I give credit to Eskridge. Like, yeah, he is on the shorter side, but man, he plays strong. He plays tough. Like he was out there looking to destroy some people after some catches, and I got to give him that credit. Easy to get over the drops. Yeah, he had some drops in that final preseason game, but I feel like all offseason they were giving him a lot of credits for his hands. So I think that might have just been that game. Who knows? Bro, we found our 1-2 punch in Achan and Gordon. Who cares about Jalen Wright? I would think the Dolphins care about Jalen Wright if I had to guess, but who knows? I would imagine they still have a lot of faith in Jalen Wright because he's still very talented. And as much as I like Ollie Gordon, he still has not played a single regular season snap, and I think he will be good. But we are going a little fast. Said 4 to 5:30, it'll come out. God damn. Of course they're doing this. Maybe we'll see. Thoughts on Kobe Bryant on the fence? I mean, I liked his film coming out of college, but I don't know if they can really use a roster spot on him. I think I'm open to a lot of those guys as like practice squad players. They were talking about Jelani Woods. Big wide tight end. He's just had a big injury history. I do think he would be a scheme fit, but also I don't know. I would wait until they signed him for me to do more research. He's still pretty young, 26. He's a 3rd round pick in 2022. Came out of Virginia, was pretty raw as a prospect, but has some good stuff on tape that I think could translate. But tight end's one of those positions where I would throw a lot of darts at. Evan Harris. No thanks. Damn, they did really. Dolphins really doing this to us, huh? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, apparently Kendall Lamb got released. Damn, the Rams kept Sean Dolak. You guys remember the Buffalo linebacker, UDFA? I made a video on him. He made the Rams roster over Chris Paul or Pooh Paul. I know they both had good off seasons, but I'm surprised they kept the UDFA over the draftee. How often do guys cut from the 58 and not claim sign with the team that cut them as opposed to going elsewhere? I mean, there's definitely. I mean, I would say most players that are cut end up returning to either the practice squad, but there's definitely players that go elsewhere. Like last year, the Dolphins signed a handful of players from other teams to their practice squad. So it's definitely not uncommon. Like a lot of there will still be practice squad spots of guys who were like we're not even discussing. You're saying guys that like don't get claimed and then signed to another team's 53. That's very rare. Yeah. Yeah, Chris Brooks got signed. Yeah, that was also a weird scenario because he got waived for being injured, so like he was never going to get claimed to a team. But yeah, it's like Derek McClendon last year. The Dolphins signed him to the practice squad after he got cut from like Carolina. Rare won't give up draft capital. He prefers to make dumb draft trades and give up picks. I don't really think that's his problem. Cam Smith makes him. Well, he wasn't seen at practice, so it's not a good sign. We still don't have some of the final official stuff yet. And now I'm just sitting here waiting for them to actually post it. You don't want to give up on. I mean, I get that thought process, and I usually like to give players like their third year, and I know this is his third year, but man, there's just not been like any promising signs in the first 2 years. He is very talented, but I don't think that was ever his problem. So like, if they do move on from Cam Smith, then I think they have more information than us. Come on, Dolphins, do something. Nope. Did Tindall get cut? That's one that hasn't been confirmed yet, but he was also reported as not being at practice. So unless it's an injury thing for him, which he did get injured, I believe, in the Jags game. So I'm guessing he got cut, though. I'm guessing Cam Smith doesn't have any trade value. I would think Brunskill is gone once Eichenberg returns. I think that just depends, because I'm pretty sure Eichenberg is going to be out long term. So it would really depend on how Brunskill was playing, if he had to play, Like if he was like actually playing as like pretty good depth, then I don't think they would move on from him. But if he was like struggling and then Liam was returning, then yeah, Liam would probably take his spot. Man, people are saying a lot of things that have nothing to do with what I said. I've like tried to read it all. Kendall might stay since Bonner on IR. Who, Sheffield? Yeah, but Sheffield is also not spotted at practice, and he has also been nursing an injury. So that's another thing we are not. That's why we can't confirm it all. There's something I'm like, damn, we don't know. Liam is a really good backup offensive lineman. I would not go that far. He probably gets overhated, but he ain't a really good backup. How did Borum make this team? I'm gonna have a film breakdown on Borum later this week, because I don't think Borum has been as bad as people think. They actually, in that preseason week 3 game, he made some mistakes, but they clearly put him in situations to make it harder on him. That way they would never put him in an actual game, or it would be very rare if they put him in those situations. Plus, just from like a schematic standpoint, like I'll explain why they have Borum on the team and go in like full detail of like the reason they went after a guy like him, even though I'm not very high on Borum, but I can explain it in that video. Dylan Gabriel. Oh yeah, I just saw that. Because they're I'm sure they already announced. Yeah, Flacco is going to be the starter there. I mean, that makes sense. That's what they think they drafted. That was what they drafted it for. And also, the official 53 does not mean this is the actual 53. And it's still waiting. Wow, your Condi's our best backup offensive tackle then? He probably is. I do think he would play better at guard, but he's probably your best backup tackle. Keon did play pretty well in that third preseason game, but I don't know if Keon's 100% healthy. And from what I've talked about it, I think you need someone out there that can play it with some physicality in the run game and has some athleticism. And Borum at least has that. Because it's kind of the same thing. Like you needed a right tackle backup that has a similar skill set to Austin Jackson. The problem with Kendall Lamb is Kendall Lamb and Austin Jackson were complete opposites. So when Austin Jackson would go down with injury, Lamb would try to replace him, and he'd be a better pass pro guy. But that's not what the Dolphins need because of how they run their system. They very rarely ask their guys to do things in pass pro that's difficult. So Austin Jackson, who's not great in pass pro, but is a good run blocker, was able to, do what he did because of his run blocking ability. And then they would jump set. They would use play action to slow down pass rushers to really help out Jackson. That's what I think they would be trying to do with Borum, make his life as easy as possible in pass pro. And at least him be able to create, he's a better run blocker than pass pro guy. So if the Dolphins, I do think the Dolphins should still be looking at a tackle as that should be a position they are definitely looking at to claim, but it needs to be someone that can create some movement in the run game and also has good athletic ability. And Bourne will also do better than he ever did with the Bears. I know that for a fact. Because the Bears made his life as difficult as possible. But will he still be good? No. Come on, Dolphins, hurry up. But it won't be as bad as he was with Chicago, because talk about trying to play as holding onto a block for 5 seconds for a QB that holds onto it for that long, and then also gains a bunch of depth in the pocket, which makes life even harder. But with Tua and the Dolphins, ball out quick, lots of jump setting, very little true one-on-one pass sets, life a lot easier. It's why you see guys like Aaron Brewer. Oh my God. Aaron Brewer turned into a completely different player in the Dolphins system. Was considered one of the worst pass protecting centers, and then last year was a top 8 guy. Trying to read. I mean, of course I don't want Borum to be the starting tackle. I hope he never has to play. But that's just not going to happen. I hate to say it so bad. Eichenberg is probably our best O-line backup player. It's possible. Honestly, I think the person I would be most confident in if they had to play, it would actually be Andrew Meyer. Because I think Andrew Meyer could go in and play center and be fine. And they're even though Brewer's very good, I don't think the fall off would be as much at the other spots. Sure, Sanders. Yeah, he has that drop. He drops too far. Yeah, Meyer's on IR, so he'll miss the first 4. But it's not, as long as Brewer's good, it's in run skill can do the backup center stuff too. I'm not super concerned about that. I'm more concerned about, tackle depth. Because Keon Smith, you have questions, and then Austin Jackson's already hurt. It seems like they said he's on pace for week 1, which is huge. But yeah, there's question marks there. What do you think about Kalen King? Is he the Penn State corner? Because that's where I remember his name. Yeah, he was Penn State. I didn't really like him that much coming out, but I don't know. It seems like Packers were pretty surprised by that move, so I'd be willing to check him out. What were your thoughts on Logan Brown in the draft? Logan Brown would be another interesting ad. I don't know how he performed this offseason, but Logan Brown is a good scheme fit. Didn't Logan Brown have some other issue though? I feel like there was something issue that wasn't football related with him, but I can't remember. But as a player, he would fit the scheme pretty well. Like pretty good athlete at tackle. It would be an interesting addition. But he also doesn't have. Oh, apparently the Colts are working out Mike Hilton, so Mike Hilton might not be returning to Miami. Because I think some of the players that were cut might return to Miami after, either to the practice squad or to the roster after week 1. Darren Waller said on Instagram, "You're too busy worrying about time, my boy. Be patient." Whatever that means. Whatever that means. Okay. That's crazy. Logan, yeah, at least from my memory, he was a good mover. We still got nothing from Miami. Yeah, well, Hilton would be a backup for them because they have Kenny Moore in the nickel. Yeah, it seems like Zeke is making the team. Kenyon Green. I'm pretty sure Kenyon Green has been like really bad. Rucci needs to be tight end 3 at least. It wouldn't surprise me if Rucci's on the practice squad and gets elevated, but it seems like he wasn't at practice, so probably got cut. And I mean, I wouldn't mind him as tight end 3, but that means I feel like for him to be like actual tight end 3, that would mean Waller would have to not be playing because I feel like he's not going to play over Julian Hill, and then Connor just playing is like a really different value than him. Like they're very different players. Arch's granddad said he isn't coming out. Yeah, but Arch did say that he didn't say that. Tanner Connor going to play this year? I think this will be, if Tanner Connor doesn't get injured, I think this is the year he will play the most. Like, by far, if he stays healthy. It's his best chance to. I don't think Zach Moss ever signed. But I do think Arch won't come out next year. But Arch did deny like what his grandpa said. He's like, I never said that to him. Could just be lying. It's a shame. It's a good offseason for Richie 2 seasons in a row. Yeah, well, I think he definitely played better this offseason. I think last offseason got a little bit overrated by some of the fans. But I do think he got improved. I think his first preseason game was really rough. Second and third, he showed a lot of improvement, which is good. But I still think no matter who, if any of those guys in the tight end room have to like play a lot of snaps, all of them are going to struggle. Trying to look. Well, they spent really cheap in free agency, so they were trying to go super cheap. Most of the guys they signed in free agency were guys that were either, roster bubble guys. But I think like most of the moves they made were just like low risk, and it seems like some of them are going to turn out or work out. I don't think it's as bad as y'all are saying. I think they clearly went with a plan of looking to the future with their free agency moves. We're going to regret losing Jonnu? I don't think so. Love Jonnu? I don't think it's that big of a deal for the Dolphins offense specifically. Super cheap doesn't always translate to success. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Probably not. I don't think they'll trade. I mean, I think by the deadline, they're more likely to be sellers than buyers. Omnis, no, I don't see the Dolphins picking up any QBs on the waiver wire. Yeah, that's kind of. Come on. Still nothing from the Dolphins. They're really trying to break me. Should pick Malik Davis. I mean, practice squad. I'd be down. I don't really want to use a roster spot on Malik Davis. He's from the Cowboys. He was, I believe, a Florida running back. Yeah, I agree. Isaiah Simmons. I have no idea. I'm pretty sure he's been struggling, and I don't think they need that type of player within the team. I mean, I don't mind taking some swings, but I don't know if that's where I would be going. Would you trade a Phillips and a third for Micah? Yeah, but that would never happen. They wouldn't accept. They would. You could say Phillips and 2 first, and I don't think they would accept. Rivaldo Fairweather. Yeah, but I don't think, from my understanding, he's not much of a blocker. And if I would be looking for blocking tight ends, but I would have to watch him. Tyreek in a first? I don't think that would get it done either. I don't think Tyreek or Phillips have a ton of trade value at this point. They want 2 first in up like in more. That's what the Cowboys would be asking for. Better than Fant? You think Rivaldo Fairweather is better than Noah Fant? Deuce Vaughn. Dude, I love Deuce Vaughn. I'd be down to have him on the practice squad, to be honest. Not on the roster. Dude, the Dolphins are pissing me off. At this point, yes. I mean, Rivaldo Fairweather has not played a single snap in a regular season game, so I don't think I would say that. Because no offense, not a great tight end or anything, but I mean, Rivaldo Fairweather just got waived from a team that doesn't even have that great of a tight end room. Pass released Cole Strange. Oh yeah, interesting. I don't know how he's played for them. I just remember that pick being horrible at the time when they took him in the first round. Yeah. Bobby tweeted out from the dive bar. He said Jordan Colbert has made the initial 53-man roster. We were assuming that because he was at practice, but hey, good for him, man. That's the one that's like, I feel like the guy who like really had to earn it this season was in a position where not in a good position to make the 53-man. So I mean, good for him. Oh yeah, I don't think Parsons will actually get traded away either. This is Jerry's been saying it in his interviews, dude. It's all part of a game for him. Oh, guess we'll stay alive until this thing actually comes around. I haven't seen any updates. Yes, Damian Martinez did get released. Now we're just chilling here, vibing. Cam Smith has not been confirmed as a cut, but he was not seen at practice today. And we've seen players there. It seems numbers wise, he is probably not making the team. No, I would not want Jeff Wilson. Personally, I'm not like desperate for running back. I think like what some people are. Damian Martinez would be one of the only ones I would like claim, and then I'm down for like any number of running backs on the practice squad that they would want to elevate while Jalen Wright's working through injuries, because it seems like Jalen Wright will only miss like 1, 2, 3 games. So just get any number of, if it's Kevin Harris, sure. Like I don't really care. Like I don't have like, I think he could be serviceable, for a few games or whatever you want. But there's so many running backs around the league. Running back's one of the most stacked positions where you can just find bodies, people that can contribute. You're just looking for scheme fits that could at least get some carries if needed. Yeah. I think Martinez would be fun. And I know like Dolphins fans would be happy because of, him playing for Miami. And I do think like he's one of the talents I think would be worth to take that risk on. Beanie Bishop? I don't know. I remember watching him play for the Steelers last year, but I don't think, at least from my memory, he's not the type of DB I'd be looking for. Heard Mostert might be cut. Good. Yeah, I'm not I wouldn't bring back Raheem. Not with his comments this offseason. We're trying to build a good environment. I don't think the Chargers are actually considering cutting him, are they? I thought they liked him a lot. Aronde Gadsden the second. I mean, I don't know how his offseason's gone, but I remember hearing a lot of good things about him early on. And they drafted him pretty like in the middle of that draft, so I don't think that would happen. He's someone that should definitely get claimed. I don't know if the Dolphins is the best team for him, just based on his skill set. CJ Okoye, I don't know. I didn't see his name at all today. Not everyone's has been announced. I've seen certain teams announce. No, yeah, he got waived. The Ravens have waived D-line CJ Okoye. That was 33 minutes ago. He's another name that's out there that could be interesting. I know he's the one. I saw some clips on him. Yeah, he's the one who's like, he was like their international player, right? Yeah. Asante Samuel Jr. is out till at least October, so. Yeah, Restrepo got waived. I don't think the Dolphins would be interested unless he wanted to sign to the practice squad. How much cap space? I actually don't know what the official cap space is now, because I know I think they saved some money with some of the players they released. Let's see. According to Over the Cap, we have 17 mil. I don't know if this is all updated, but we probably have somewhere around that. Gadsden and Taylor were on my draft board. Well, I would hope. They were definitely players that should have been drafted. Restrepo equal Craycraft? No, Restrepo is more like because Craycraft could play outside. I don't think Restrepo's really an outside guy at all. Restrepo's like purely slot, like your typical slot receiver. You know who Finns will use on running downs for? Bell, Judon. I mean, I imagine it'll be all four. All four will rotate, but I'm sure Judon will see probably more reps on early downs than maybe his obvious passing downs. But I think all four will definitely play like all different types of situations. Barrios, kind of. Roster just hit? Don't lie to me. Okay, thank you. Okay. So, let's read this. This was posted on their site. Okay. Dolphins make roster moves. They announced that they have released Cornell Armstrong, Quentin Bell, Mike Boone, Farrah Brown, Jackson Carman, Dan Slayer, Dickerson, Mike Hillen, Chris Myrick, Kendall Sheffield. So Kendall Sheffield, there is confirmed gone. You know, he was listed as a starter. That's one where I was like definitely against him. And I was like, he either starts or gets cut. That's what my thoughts were. And he ended up getting cut. BJ Adams, yeah, we knew that. Orange Armstrong, Mason Brooks, Braden Daniels, official. Ezukama, Hayes, AJ Henning, Alex Huntley. Daquan Jackson, official. That one wasn't official, but we knew he's cut. Then we got everyone here that we already knew. Grayson Murphy. Hayden Rucci, officially. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him back. Channing Tindall, officially waived. So, you know, there it is with the Tindall news. Theo Weiss, they waived / injured tackle Baron Matos. Then let's see, they moved Liam Eichenberg to the physically unable to perform list and placed offensive lineman Andrew Meyer and kicker Jason Sanders on the injured reserve list. Oh, so is Cam Smith not gone? Because I don't think I saw Cam Smith's name there. They just listed the waived people. Because he was one that could have been out of practice with an injury thing. They also didn't list Ethan Bonner, so that means they kept Bonner because they have an extra practice. They should have an extra spot. So that means he might make the roster. I wouldn't be surprised maybe they move someone to IR after the fact to like move people around. But like I'm trying to do the math here. I feel like that's over 53, at least based on like what I've been seeing. But I just need to actually see the full list. Can they like tweet just a full list of 53? I'm sure someone could actually get it. I mean, I could figure it out, but I just want to see if they actually tweet it out before I have to like actually do the math myself. But it seems like he was the one out of the guys not at practice that made it, probably because of the injury. Same with Bonner, because I didn't see Bonner's name mentioned there. Let me go back to the Miami Dolphins. But yeah. Okay, then let's look at the roster. So I'm on our lads right now. So that means 3 QBs. You got your 3 running backs plus Ingold, so that's 7. 6 receivers, that's 13. We knew that. And it seems like they kept 8 O linemen, right? So 8 O linemen, so that's 24. So they kept 24 on offense. So they limited themselves on offense. So this is why they have extra bodies. They kept extra bodies because they only went 1 on offense, or they went 1 less on offense than usual. And then they also don't have a kicker. So they have an extra D tackle. So they kept Matthew Butler, Zeke Biggers, Kenneth Grant, Benito Jones, Zach Sealer, Jordan Phillips. So that makes sense. Edge, they kept the main 4, and they kept Cameron Good. At linebacker, they kept the 4 we expected: Willie Gay, Jordan Brooks, KJ Britt, Tyrell Dodson. Everyone else is gone. And then at DB is where they kept a lot of DBs. I should have done the math there. So we had 6 plus 5 is 11 plus 4, 15. So did they keep 12 DBs? Because if they don't have a kicker. So they kept Duck, Melifonwu, Fitzpatrick, Razul, Jason Marshall. That's 5. They kept Jack Jones, 6. Ashton Davis, 7. Elijah Campbell, 8. Cam Smith, 9. Trader, 10. McMorris, 11. Jordan Colbert, 12. Or Isaiah Johnson, 13. Am I missing something there? We got 6. So we got 24 on the first. We got 6 plus 4 is 10 plus 5, 15. Huh. Did they only keep 2 on special teams? I think we kept 8 initially. McMorris was cut, yeah. I feel like there's got to be an extra number I'm missing. Yeah, McMorris cut. Who is calling me? See if anyone tweeted anything out. Sure, someone's done the actual roster list so far. Because I feel like that was... Because unless I'm missing someone, I feel like I'm at 54. Unless I added 1 extra. 24 on offense. Did they... How many DBs was it again? Let me do it. Because DBs is where I feel like I did it wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you know what? They might not be counting Razul Douglas yet. So... Because maybe Razul Douglas didn't officially sign. And that would be 53. If Douglas doesn't officially count a part of the roster, that might be what I'm thinking of. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oof. So that means once Douglas signs, unless they put someone on IR... Oh, you know what it could mean? Ethan Bonner... This is what I think will happen. Ethan Bonner will get moved to IR once it's official, and then Razul Douglas will sign and take Ethan Bonner's spot. Or they might just waive like Isaiah Johnson or something. But I think that they kept those guys for a reason. They just think Bonner's going to go to the... So that's what it is. So that's the 53. Just Douglas doesn't count yet. Because, yeah, they have 1, 2, 3. Not counting Douglas. So we're at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So they have 12 DBs, not counting Douglas. That's so many. that's more than usual. Because that's what happens when you get to leave a special team spot open. So yeah, hey, good for Cam Smith. Cam Smith was the one name that was like out of the list had a chance, and he ended up making it second round. So I will, if Cam Smith is still on this team, I will be making a video on him. So I mean, he is still on the team as long as he survives past tomorrow, because some of these names could change once they like officially do things. Because well, it's official, but I mean, like, once they like potentially claim people tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised for things to change. Okay, interesting. Very interesting initial 53-man roster. The fact that they kept 6 receivers and still had less than 25 on the offense, because usually the thought process is you keep 25 on the offense, 25 on the defense, and then you keep your 3 special teams: kicker, punter, long snapper. That's you. It doesn't always play out like that, but that's usually your basic train of thought. The fact that they kept 6 receivers, which is more than the average, and still only kept 24 on offense is pretty impressive. They kept 6 safeties. Yes. As of right now, they have 6 safeties. That's what we knew that from the practice stuff. But I will say this: Ashton Davis or Dante Trader, wouldn't be surprised to see maybe one of them go to IR. I don't think they will, because they were both out at practice today. But that is also a possibility. Now we trade Meek for McLaurin. I mean, not after he just signed. That's weird. Even that player is a special teamer. That's crazy. Yeah. I would say, things can still change. I don't think, I mean, it's crazy if that's how it is the whole year, but I don't think that's how it will be the whole year. I think it's just, how many running backs? 3. Achane, Wright, Ollie Gordon, and then if you count Alec Ingold, he's the 4th. We got to sign Douglas and a kicker, so 2 more transactions are going to happen. Well, I think Bonner will probably be the one because of injury. Put him on IR for like 4-week designated return. I think that makes the most sense. Or they could just cut Colbert or Isaiah Johnson. And then I think the kicker strategy should be to just sign one to the practice squad and elevate him until Jason Sanders returns. Just keep doing the elevated kicker strat. Like, I feel like we shouldn't have to use a roster spot in a kicker, you know what I'm saying? But they also could just sign one. They officially announced the 53. Let's see. I don't see it. Colbert's going to be cut too. Definitely a possibility. But here's the thing, though. My thought process is like, but why keep him, Like, I feel like they would have cut, if they weren't planning to keep him, I feel like he's one they would have been like, okay, we'll cut him. We can get him on the practice squad. Like, he's one that I feel like they didn't think they would have to keep, but they kept for some reason. I'm trying to think of the logic behind this one, Interesting. But also, he definitely could get released if they, depending on who they end up picking up here. Because I'll say this, I think like Butler, like if they end up claiming players tomorrow, if they claim anyone tomorrow, I imagine they either won't claim anybody, or someone they tried to claim will get claimed before them, or they'll end up getting like a player or 2. I don't see them doing anything crazy on the waiver wire. Like I think last year they only added 1, and like years before that they weren't adding anyone. So, but I think players like Butler, Jordan Colbert, like you have extra bodies at those spots. Like I could see those guys being the first to be waived because they're extra bodies, and even if those aren't the positions you claim. Yeah, so they went 6 receivers, 3 QB, 3 running back, 1 fullback, 8 O-line, 3 tight ends, 6 D line, 5 edges, 4 off ball linebackers, and 12/13 DBs. 6 safeties, 6 corners, yeah. You keep him on the initial 53 so he doesn't get claimed. Yeah, but I understand that thought process, but I feel like you would have that thought process with a lot of other players. Like Jordan Colbert felt like Jordan Colbert's like one of the players they could have cut that like I would feel very confident that he wouldn't get claimed. Like I know that's like the plan for what they usually do, but like he's one that I don't think they would do that for necessarily. But who knows? Weird. Cam Good's on the team. Grayson Murphy is cut. Damn. Damn. So Cam Smith was. I wonder what that means though for Cam because he wasn't at practice today, but he did make the initial 53. Yeah, I'm a no on Jeff. I don't know. Juju Brents is interesting. I remember him from Kansas State. Interesting they cut him. I forgot they took him in the 2nd round. I actually wonder if he would be a good scheme fit. I will have to look into that. He's definitely an interesting name. Cam Smith and Bonner. Who knows with Cam, man? I imagine Cam can't be that seriously injured because if he was IR again, I feel like they just cut him, bro. Both Grayson Bros got cut. Yeah. I think you mean Murphy Bros, but I get what you're trying to say. Honestly, I actually do think both are good. I think both are very similar players. I've actually always thought Gabriel was better, even though I do like Grayson Murphy a lot. Yes, Taj is on the roster. Dickerson? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up elsewhere. Tomorrow they can move Colbert to practice squad and announce Rizal Douglas in his place. Yeah, I just feel like in my mind, I think they would have done a different person than Colbert. Because I feel like they would have done a player that they thought had a better chance of getting claimed. I feel like that would have been a guy like McMorris or John Saunders Jr. But Colbert, a 2nd-year UDFA, like trying to hide him from the waiver wire, just who didn't have like a crazy good preseason, just doesn't make sense that would be the player they do that with, at least in my mind. Yeah. I would be down for Juju Brents. That's an interesting name. Trying to scroll through right now. Think Theo makes a practice squad? Yeah, probably. No, Weiss did not make it. He got cut. The 6 receivers were. Where is it? Yeah, the 6 that I was expecting. Yeah, Waddle, Tyreek, Malik, Nick Westbrook, Akine, D.S. Cridge, and Taz Washington. And then we'll learn. I'll probably stream tomorrow when we learn about the practice squad and like the waiver claims. I believe that's all around 12 Eastern, so I will be there live around then. Okay.